All right, today we're going to talk about a story that, well, you probably think you know, The Little Prince. Now, on the surface, it looks like a simple kid's book, right? But if you dig a little deeper, you'll find it's actually this incredible critique of the grown-up world and a really powerful reflection on what truly matters in life. So we're going to walk through the story together, and then we'll break down the lessons it's been trying to teach us all along.
Okay, so it all starts with this one drawing. As a little kid, our narrator draws what he sees, a boa constrictor digesting an elephant. Pretty cool, right? But every single adult he shows it to, they just see a hat, a boring old hat. They tell him, hey, focus on geography, history, practical stuff. And just like that, a kid who could have been an artist becomes a pilot instead. This one little moment, this misunderstanding, it really sets the stage for the whole story. It's all about that clash between a kid's wild imagination and the, let's face it, kind of rigid world of grown-ups.
So, fast forward a few years. That pilot, his life is about to get turned completely upside down, all because of a plane crash and a very strange question. So, picture this. Our narrator, now a pilot, crashes his plane right in the middle of the Sahara Desert. He's completely alone, literally hundreds of miles from civilization. He's got about a week's worth of water, and his only focus, his only thought, is fixing that engine. I mean, this is a life or death situation.
And then, out of nowhere, he hears this tiny voice, and it says, "Please, draw me a sheep." It's a little boy who's just there, like he appeared out of thin air. And think about it. His first request isn't for water, it's not for help. He wants a drawing. In that single moment, the pilot's super practical grown-up world just completely shatters, and all that childlike wonder comes rushing back in. And this, of course, is our first meeting with the Little Prince.
So the pilot starts to learn about where this kid comes from. Turns out he's from this super tiny planet, asteroid B612. We're talking barely bigger than a house. On his little world, he's got 3 small volcanoes that he has to clean out every day, and one very special rose. Now, this rose was absolutely beautiful, but she was also really proud and, well, pretty demanding. The prince loved her for sure, but he just didn't get her. And because he was so hurt and confused, he decided to leave his tiny home and go explore the universe.
And that's what he does. The prince sets off on this incredible journey, hopping from planet to planet. And on his travels, he meets a bunch of really peculiar adults, each one stuck on their own little world, giving him a seriously strange look into how grown-ups think.
Okay, so first up, he meets a king who has no subjects but is convinced he rules the entire universe. Then there's this vain guy who just wants to be applauded all the time. After that, he finds a drunkard who's trapped in this heartbreaking cycle. He drinks to forget that he's ashamed of drinking. He also runs into a businessman who's obsessed with counting and owning the stars, a lamplighter who's basically a slave to a pointless routine, and get this, a geographer who's never actually been anywhere.
And through all of these crazy encounters, the prince starts to see a pattern, All these adults are just obsessed with things that don't really matter. Stuff like power, vanity, numbers, and rules. To him, their logic made no sense at all. Their lives just seemed incredibly empty, and honestly, pretty sad.
So eventually, his journey brings him to Earth. And Earth is, well, it's huge and complicated. And it's right here that he's going to face his biggest personal crisis, but also where he'll learn the single most important lesson of his entire trip.
Can you just imagine how he felt? He lands on Earth and stumbles across this garden that has thousands of roses. His whole life, he believed that his rose back on his little planet was the only one like her in the entire universe. And when he sees this garden, his heart just breaks. He feels totally betrayed. I mean, if his rose wasn't unique, what did that say about his love for her? Was it even special?
And this is when he meets the fox. The fox explains it to him perfectly. He says, "Look, right now you're just another little boy to me, and I'm just another fox to you. But if you tame me, everything changes. We'll need each other. We'll become totally unique in the whole world to each other." So taming isn't about owning something. It's about building a bond, creating ties.
And then the fox shares his big secret. This is probably the most famous line in the entire book. He says, "What is essential is invisible to the eye." Think about that. He's saying that the things that really matter, love, friendship, real beauty, you can't see them with your eyes. You can only feel them with your heart. And for the prince, hearing this, well, it changes absolutely everything.
And just like that, it all clicks. The prince finally gets it. His rose is unique, not because she looks different from all the other roses, but because she is his rose.
He was the one who watered her, who put a screen up to protect her from the wind, the one who listened to all her complaints. All that time he thought he was wasting on her, that's exactly what made her so incredibly important to him.
So, armed with this huge realization, the prince's journey starts to come to a close. And this last part of the story, this is where we really get to the heart of its most powerful lessons.
The prince now understands that he's responsible for his rose. He just knows he has to go back to her. But the way he leaves Earth is, well, it's really mysterious and sad. He finds a poisonous snake and lets it bite him because he believes that's the only way he can leave his physical body behind and make the long journey back home to the stars.
So after all that, what are we supposed to take away from this story? Well, the lessons are pretty clear and they're incredibly powerful. First, the most important things in life can't be seen, only felt. Second, real relationships are built by spending time and energy on them, by taming one another. Third, we are responsible for the things we choose to love. And finally, and this is a big one, the busy, serious world of adults can make us completely blind to all of these truths.
And our pilot, he's left totally heartbroken. He never finds out for sure if his little friend actually made it back home to his rose, but his own life has changed forever. Now, when he looks up at the night sky, he doesn't just see a bunch of stars. He swears he can hear the little prince laughing. He knows that somewhere up there, one of those little lights is the prince's home, where his special flower is waiting. The pilot, he learned how to see with his heart again.
Which really just leaves us with one final thought. One last question for you. The little prince asked the pilot to draw him a sheep, right? And that simple request forced the pilot to stop worrying about his serious matters and to start seeing the world with imagination again. So what about you? In your life right now, what are the invisible, essential things that the world is asking you to see?